host, Joshua.
And I'm your host, Ariel.
And we're the Midnight Guild.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode. I hope everybody's doing fab. I'm doing pretty good. How about you, mister?
I mean, I can't complain.
I probably could, but...
Nobody would listen.
Amen.
Nobody
the struggle.
Drake going back to work.
When do you have to go back? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
Oh, gag. How many days do you work straight?
2, and then I'm off the weekend.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Then I'm off
just
the
a little
weekend.
miniature work. Just a little miniature work.
Just enough to get the bills paid.
Just a smidge, honey.
Yes,
just
that electric bill came in.
Honey, I gotta go work tomorrow at 2, so I'm like, ugh.
I know. Them bills be like, bitch, where's my money?
Literally. At the first of the month, for us, it's the worst. It's like, oh my God, I'm like hundreds of dollars. I'm like, here, you take some. All my bills come out the first of the month, and it is so annoying.
Yes, I'm only middle class for about 5 minutes.
Honey, I'm never middle class. I wish.
So on today's episode, kind of a continuation. Well, not a continuation, but the theme is
like stalking type thing.
Whereas Ariel has done all the research.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, and has not, let me see a thing to get a blind reaction. So
this is a spooky one, hardcore.
Yeah, that's what she has told me.
This is one of my favorite, real scary stories. It's from a Reddit user. I'll put the name on the bottom. It was that's not verified. The Reddit user isn't verified or whatever. And this was actually told on one of the YouTube creators that I watch, Mr. Ballin. I watch him all the time. And he told this years ago, and I have watched this video like 5 or 6 times, like over the years.
I have not seen it.
It is my favorite scary, like, real story. And so I did get it from Mr. Ballin. I'll link him down in the description below because obviously I did get the story from him. But I'm going to tell it in a different way. I'm not going to do word for word. I'm not going to copy him by any means. He just inspired me to tell the story because it is my favorite. Okay.
That's a part.
So this is going to be about feral people, kind of. Okay?
Feral.
Yeah. Stalking hiker. So this is a doozy. This is a long story, but honey,
like
worth it.
West Virginia feral or
California feral? This is where it's at. It's California.
Oh.
But like, you'll understand as we go.
Hippies.
You'll understand as we go.
Hippies.
Let me get a little drink before I start here. So in 2008, 18-year-old Matt Higgins decides to hike the California section of the Pacific Crest Trail.
That was his first mistake.
Hiking.
Yeah.
It's a 1,700-mile hike. It begins on the Mexico border, if you start at the bottom, and ends on the Oregon border.
Just too much.
I agree. The trail goes through mountains, deserts, and forested areas. Like some of the forests not super dense. Some of the forest areas are super dense.
So are some of the men I dated.
Word. So hiking in these areas, a lot of these areas are extremely remote. Like, you're not getting hold of nobody. Like, remote. So if something happens, right? So if something happens, you're pretty much
SOL.
Screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what it is. But if something happened, if you're hiking alone, you're kind of screwed. If you have hurt yourself, you can't. It's bad. It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But Matt isn't a newbie to hiking or anything like that. He's grown up hiking, camping. He knows it the way of the woods.
Seasoned.
Very much so. So it's like he's not worried at all. He's actually really looking forward to it.
I feel like he's going to get worried soon.
Right. Honey, you ain't lying. So he begins the trip in spring after he graduates. And he starts down at the Mexico border and begins heading northward on the Pacific Crest Trail. So for the first few weeks, everything is going great.
Sorry, my nose is itching.
Oh, you're fine. So for the first few weeks, everything's going great. I mean, just a couple things happened that was, on the grand scheme of things, not a big deal. He did get dehydrated once, but he, caught it in time. And he almost stepped on a rattlesnake. Didn't, but that was the only 2 issues he had in the first few weeks.
That would have been enough for me, honey. I would have then turned around.
I'd have been like, help.
Nope. No, thank you.
So during these first few weeks, Matt had like a system. He would get up at daybreak, eat, pack up his stuff, hike all day long, almost until dusk. Well, basically to dusk. And then set up camp, eat, go to sleep, do it all over again for weeks. and he was enjoying this. I don't know how, but he did.
That sounds horrible.
I agree, especially just you and your own thoughts. Ew, gag.
No.
No, thank you. Um, let's see. So when he enters the, I'm trying to remember what it's called, the Lassen Forest. Yes,
Lassen.
Yes, Lasson.
Lassen.
So
Lassen.
in the
Sorry.
last 150 miles, he has like 150 miles left of this hike. When he enters Lassen National Forest, it's a super dense, like ridiculously dense forest in northern California. Um, Matt even said that it was like the trees, like on the pathway, it was like the trees were so high and so thick together that it looked like he was like walking in between two giant walls.
Oh wow.
Right. But this didn't freak him out. He actually really loved it because he's
Yeah.
a really like a nature guy. He obviously he you can't be a scared cat and be hiking out there by yourself. So he actually really loved this and thought it was absolutely beautiful. Um, so he still has, like I said, he has 150 miles left to go, which is nothing compared to. I mean, that's a long way,
Yeah.
but that's nothing
He's
compared
almost
to.
there.
Yeah, but that's nothing compared to the 1,600 miles he's already walked.
Right.
So he gets in Lassen National Forest, and like I said, it's like another world in there. But he actually goes through the forest, like you go through really, really dense parts of the forest, then it opens up for a minute, like almost like a little meadow type fieldy area, really open. You can see all around. Keep walking the trail, you'll get back into dense forest. Then you'll come back out. He keeps weaving in and out of super dense forested areas to wide open spaces, back through dense.
Wide
In and out,
open
in and out.
spaces.
Love that song.
Right.
So he's really enjoying his hike through Lassen National Forest to begin with. He thinks it's absolutely beautiful. It's not like what he's been on previously throughout the other part of the hike. So he's having a really good time. But during this, he's kind of in his own head. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
me, myself, and I. Sorry.
Just a man in his thoughts.
Exactly. So he's not really paying attention. He's just kind of like in the moment. So he's kind of looking down at the trail as he's walking or whatever, and he actually walks into this wide open space and just looks up, like following the trail, looks up, and the trail kind of goes up a hill and around, and there's this really big boulder. And as he looks up, following the trail, he happens to look up, and there's this giant boulder, and there's two people sitting on it.
Okay.
And it like takes him aback to begin with. He's like, oh my God, because he wasn't expecting to see people, because apparently on this trail, it is nothing to go for weeks at a time without seeing anyone.
I mean, I could say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very, very rare to see another person when you're on the trail. So he was, of course, taken aback for a minute because it's just been him for weeks. And so he's just, it's kind of awkward because they're just staring him down. They're sitting on this boulder. It's two middle-aged people, a man and a woman. They're sitting on the top of this boulder just staring at him. They're dressed head to toe in white, like creepy, right?
I told you hippies.
Literally cultish, honey, cultish.
Marilyn Manson.
Commune.
Not Marilyn Manson. Yes, no.
Charles Manson. I about to say James. God, what's wrong with us?
Oh, sorry to little Marilyn
But yeah,
Manson.
but literally think that, because the man
Charles Manson.
Literally, the man had longer hair, a big disheveled beard, dressed head to toe in white. The woman was middle aged. He doesn't really give like factors of her appearance, but she was middle aged. They were both covered head to toe in dirt, but they were dressed head to toe in white.
Nope.
So he kind of just looks down awkwardly and just keeps walking up the trail, because I mean, he has to go past that boulder. He has to. That's the only way.
Maddie, you in danger, baby. You in danger.
Word. So as he gets up there to the boulder, he kind of just looks up awkwardly and like it smiles and like, hi. And they just literally do this right here. They just never take their eyes off him, just blank face, don't say a word. They just watch him as he walks around the boulder.
So sort of like me when I go to church.
I don't know, honey. I've never been to church with you.
Oh, you'll get a lot of stares.
Oh, heavens.
Yeah.
So this freaks him out, rightfully so. But he's too scared to like turn around. So he just keeps walking. But you know that feeling you get when you can feel like somebody's like staring daggers in you?
Yes.
As you're walking away?
Yes,
like even though you can't see it, you feel it. That's what he's feeling. And so he feels like that for a little bit until finally he gets back into like a forested area where he's like, and like he kind of does like a check behind him because he's like kind of freaked out.
I would too.
And he doesn't see anything or anything like that. So he obviously is freaked out, but he continues his hike or whatever. And he really can't get it out of his mind because it freaked him out.
I mean, I would think about it.
Right. So he keeps going or whatever. And after a couple hours of thinking about it, he's kind of just like, that was really like, it was really weird, but like, maybe I mean, maybe they're having a bad day, whatever. And he kind of just chalks it up to just whatever. What can you do? It was a weird interaction, but he's kind of just like, whatever. I'm gonna try and chill out because I'm freaking myself out. He was like, they're not behind me. I've looked a bajillion times. I'm fine. So he kind of just, lets it go, whatever, and continues his hike and just kind of forgets about it.
Right.
For the most part, anyway. So that night, it's when it gets dusk. He's like, okay, I better set up camp or whatever. Matt usually sets up camp right off the side of the trail, so you don't really want to go off trail very far because you could get lost. But now, I mean, if you're a seasoned person like Matt, you know how to get back. But he prefers to just set up camp. It's easier right on the side of the trail. That way he can just get up and go.
Access.
Word. So this night is different because he's in such a dense forest that there's nowhere to set up his tent. Like it's like a wall of trees, like I said earlier. So he has to go off trail just a little bit, maybe like 300 feet, and he finds like a little clearing area, and he sets up his camp there for the night. He sets up his tent, cooks dinner. He actually bags up his leftovers in a plastic bag and then ties them up with a rope, throws them over a tree and ties them up high. That way if a predator, any kind of animal, but a bear, anything,
Sasquatch.
comes and like, they can't get his food.
Yeah.
After that, he turns in for the night. He goes and gets in his tent, goes to sleep, sleeps great, wakes up the next morning, and opens his tent or whatever, and the first thing he sees as soon as he gets out of the tent is that his leftovers are gone. They're down from the tree. They're gone. And he doesn't freak out. I mean, doesn't freak out at all. He's like, oh, dang it. Like, a bear probably got him because what else could get it?
Yeah.
He was like, oh, dang it. A bear must have got him. But he was like, it's so weird that I didn't hear anything because bears are not known for being quiet. No. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of just walks over to where the leftovers would have been hanging. It's just kind of like, dang, a bear must have came and I just didn't hear it. And he just not even thinking, just looks down for his bear prints, if I can talk. And to his horror, there's not bear prints. There are 2 sets of boot prints.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So he kind of just is frantically looking around like, oh my God, people were in my camp last night. And as he's like looking around, scanning the forest, he doesn't see anything, but he instinctively looks down at the boot prints again and kind of looks and sees that the boot prints are not just underneath the leftovers. They are throughout his entire camp. And even they have circled around his tent numerous times. And he never even heard them. So he's freaked the hell out, rightfully so. And it's just like, okay, I got to get out of here. And he's like, oh my God. As he's backing up, he's like, oh my God, it had to be the people from yesterday. It had to be them.
The white-haired hippies.
He was like, oh my God, white-clothed hippies.
Oh, well, same difference.
Yeah, same diff. Those people, they must have followed me and stayed hidden and lied in wait for me to fall asleep and then so they could rob me.
Unless they were dedicated.
Word. So, obviously he's paranoid as shit. He packs up his stuff, gets back on the trail, and is just kind of, huffing it a little bit.
I'd be high stepping.
And he's super freaked out, paranoid, keeps checking behind him, keeps scanning the tree lines. He never sees anything. But I mean, he's freaked the hell out.
Yeah.
And throughout the day, I mean, he can't get it out of his head, but as the day goes on, he actually comes into one of those wide open spaces, and he's kind of looking around, and is just taking in the scenery. And he's like, I'm probably just being really paranoid about this. Those people, I'm sure they're harmless. I mean, they didn't try to get me. They didn't get my tent. They didn't try to get my tent. Nothing like that. I'm just being paranoid. They looked really bad off. They probably really were just so hungry, and they needed that stuff more than I did. And
well, that's very Christian of them. I wouldn't.
I mean, that's not what I would be thinking at all. I'd be like, they're trying to kill me.
Right. Honey, I'd already be
I would think the worst, honey. Absolutely. Well, it's not like he could get away. He couldn't leave. This is a super secluded part of the forest. There's no getting out of there. There's no cell phone signal out there. You know what I'm saying? You're like I said earlier, you're screwed.
Absolutely.
He's on his own for realsies. So he chalks it up to they just probably needed it worse than I did. And he tries to let it go. Of course, he's still a little paranoid for the next couple of days or whatever, just looking around, sketched. But he chalks it all up to paranoia. So for the next 3 days, Matt hikes like normal. Nothing happens at all. Everything goes easy breezy. He's camping on the side of the trail again. He's having no trouble. Nothing's went missing. No footprints. Nothing. But on the fourth night, since the leftover stealing incident, Matt actually has to camp off trail again.
Okay.
He's in another dense, really dense part of the forest. He does have to go off trail just a little bit until he finds like enough of a clearing to set up camp. He does that. He does the usual, cooks his food, all that stuff. But he actually, ever since this has happened, he's been setting up a stick perimeter, so a bunch of little sticks around.
Oh, booby trap.
Yeah, around the camp, so that if something is coming in, it'll snap a twig and he'll hear it. It'll wake him up.
Smart. That's
Agreed.
Smart.
So he's been doing that ever since what happened with the people in white. The people in white is what we're going to call them, because that's what Mr. Baldwin called them, and I like that. He's been taking that precaution ever since. Not had an issue, but just in case, he wants to have that security. So after the stick perimeter, he eats, puts his leftovers up, gets in the bed, goes to sleep. In the middle of the night, he jerks awake, and he doesn't really know why he jerks awake so suddenly, but he just he jerks awake and like really doesn't even move. He's just got like a weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And he just lays there and it's silent, and probably 10-15 seconds goes by and he's just like, kind of sketched out, because he's like, why did I jerk awake? And then all of a sudden, snap. One of the sticks on his perimeter is broken. And Matt just freezes. I mean, he's already like just laying there still, but he just, he tense in fear. He's just like frozen. And he hears footsteps.
Oh God, them hippies are coming.
And Matt slowly takes his arm out of his sleeping bag and reaches over very quietly and grabs his hunting knife. Pulls it back to him and like puts it to his chest and just lays there as still as he can, just listening. And these people are not being quiet, bitch. They are walking through the campsite. It felt like he doesn't even know how many people's out there. Like, they're walking all over the place, and then somebody starts circling his tent over and over and over again. And then they probably did it 10-15 times, and then all of a sudden they just stop right over top of Matt's head.
Oh, man.
And so, like, he's literally trying not to even, like, freaking breathe hard. He's just frozen in fear, clutching his knife. And he's like, oh my God, they're going to come in here. They're going to come in here. They're going to try and kill me. They're going to come in here. And all of a sudden, whispers start. Not over top of his head, not right outside the tent, but all around the forest. Whispers from every direction.
No.
And like they keep getting louder and louder and louder, but it's still just whispering. And it sounds like it's like a whole group of people whispering in the woods.
It's a commune. A murderous hippie commune wearing white after Labor Day.
Right. And so he is literally just freaking petrified.
Oh, I'd be dead.
I'd probably die of a heart attack. So after the whispers are going for a while, and the feet never retreat. Okay, that whoever's out there's never left standing over his head, from what he can tell. So the whispers go on for forever and ever and ever. And like I said, they keep getting louder and louder. And like Matt is literally about to piss himself because he is so petrified. He's just frozen in absolute terror. And then just out of nowhere, all at once, just silence.
That's why you don't go camping.
You would think that this would be a relief, but no, it's not a relief. Because even though everything went quiet, like I said earlier, Matt never heard the footsteps that were at his head retreat from his camp. So now he's like, oh my God, at least when they were whispering, I know they're farther away, the group of people.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even know if they're approaching, if they've left, whatever. And the footsteps right next to my head, they never left. So there's just a person standing outside my tent. Like, what are they doing? Like, what are they doing? What are they benefiting from just standing over top of me unless they're trying to get me? And so he lays there for hours and doesn't fucking move. He is petrified. The sun comes up, and he has been talking himself up through the night, like, okay, when the sun comes up, I'm going to just jump out. I'm just going to jump out and be ready with my knife. And he talks himself up, and he gets the courage to just jump out with his knife and, look around swinging or whatever, and no one's there. Now, of course, his camp is disheveled a little bit, like the stuff has been taken and stuff like that, I'm guessing. And there are footprints like before. I mean, everywhere. Over the fire, over where his fire pit was, around where he ate at, around his tent. Like, I mean, it is like a herd went through around his tent, even though it was just one set of footprints. They just kept going and going and going and going and going. I meant to say, even though he just heard one person, I mean, it looked like a whole herd of people had went through the amount of times they'd went around his tent through the night.
That's crazy.
So he is just still looking around frantically, hurries up and gathers all his stuff as fast as he can and just starts booking it.
I would too.
Yeah. So Matt, like I said, books it down the trail, and he knows that he's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, all he can do is high step it and get to, like, his next stop actually is there's a town that's nearby.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So Matt, like I said, he's booking it down the trail, and he like goes as fast as he can all day long and actually makes it to a small town off the trail and decides to camp right on the outskirts of town, like right there at it. So
Child, I'd be going into town get me a room.
So he word. So he could feel safe. He stayed right next to, as close to civilization as he could. And obviously nothing happens. He was totally fine. And that next morning, when he did wake up, when he's staying outside in the town, he did consider like going into town and calling his family to come get him.
That would have been the smart thing, man.
I agree. But the hike was so important to him, and he had came this far, and he only had around 100 miles left at this time. And he was like, this is so important to me. I've got to finish it. I've got to finish what I've started.
No, he don't.
I know. So he decides to leave the little town, and he made his way out of Lassen National Forest into the Mount Shasta Forest. Now, that's another extremely dense forest, and Mount Shasta has a really bad reputation of people going missing under weird circumstances. It's like a super scary place. Like, we actually have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about on the podcast eventually, like story-wise, and you would not believe the amount of cases that come out of Mount Shasta, like missing 411, people that literally are just there one minute and then they're not, like crazy stuff, like abduction, like alien abduction.
Matt's just that in town. He should call somebody, come get him.
Amen. So, regardless of feeling super paranoid about the people in white,
I'm so invested. Look at me.
I know.
I'm so invested.
He's like, listen, that was in Lassen National Forest. Surely they're not going to follow me into Mount Shasta.
Well, he obviously didn't research Shasta, didn't he?
I guess. So Matt presses onwards, and he decides to just stay focused and complete his task, moving as quickly as he can all day. Camp, get up, move off as much as he can without exhausting himself completely every day. Just get it done, basically. The first 3 days in Mount Shasta go off without a hitch. He has no issues. He was really, really paranoid for the first little bit of it, and then he was like, okay, things are going good. But on the fourth day...
Always on that fourth day.
Literally, I thought about that last night when I was researching all this. Matt came into a wide open area on the side of Mount Shasta, on the side of the mountain, and where you can look out and see miles around you in every direction. And he's just kind of taking in how beautiful everything is and just, taking a little break. And he just kind of turns and looks back from where he's been coming, where you can see miles back. And in the distance, like maybe a couple miles away, Matt sees two little white figures walking his direction. And it's them. It's the people in white. Yeah. So, rightfully so, he freaks the hell out.
Yeah.
And he kind of just gathers himself as much as he can, rips open his map, and looks and sees where he's at, and he freaks out even more because he realizes he is now getting into the most secluded area on the entire hike. So in the entire 1,700 miles, Matt is now going into the most remote area on the hike.
And he got two white hippies
following him. So after he he did check his map, and he realizes, like I said, it's super remote. He's 25 miles away from the nearest town. So after he checks his map and he takes one last look at the people in white who are steadily gaining on him, Matt just starts freaking flying down the trail. He is booking it. He is running as much as he can until nightfall. for hours on end nonstop. Um, it says, I wrote down right here that he only stopped when he literally couldn't see anymore, like when it would get dark. Like he was even traveling in dark, but I mean, he only stopped himself when it got so dark that he literally could not even see his feet on the trail hardly at
Yeah.
all. And he was making such an effort of going off trail and like trying his best not to be like he was trying to be hide. He was trying
Stealthy.
yes.
Yes.
After he had ran for hours, he was exhausted. He stopped, like I said, after it was already dark, and he's laying in his sleeping bag and he's just basically just staring into the darkness and
Yeah.
just with clutching his knife like he's just terrified because he's like I know they are looking for me. Like why else would they be doing? Why else would they be
Yeah.
coming the same way as me? I mean, even if they are going the same way as you, like you've been tormented for 2 times now.
Yes.
So he knows they're after him. Like it's obvious. He's like, okay, like I've been really good about making sure I'm not leaving like a bunch of evidence of like where I'm going, how I've went off, my trail, whatever. He's like, sure, they can't find me. They can't find me. I'm calm. I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. He does this for hours trying to talk himself down. And right before he is finally about to be able to finally close his eyes and fall asleep, a stick breaks. And then a bright ass light shines right onto his tent. Bright as fuck. And Matt is just, like earlier, just frozen.
Yeah.
Frozen in fear. The whispers from all around the forest start again, and that light is literally just shining bright as it can, right on the tent. And then the light suddenly clicks off. And everything goes silent. No whispers, no footsteps, no nothing. And Matt basically, I guess, fight or flight kicks in.
Yeah.
And his adrenaline is through the damn roof. And he's had enough. He is like panicked beyond belief, but he's like taking charge because that adrenaline's kicked up a notch. And he's like, fuck this. Burst out the tent and is just screaming, flailing his knife around, trying to hit somebody or anything, just trying to protect himself. And he actually stops because nothing's around him. Because I mean, it's dark, he can't see, but he's not hit anything or anything like that. And he just stops, like mid looking around and everything. And everything's quiet, and then all of a sudden, a freaking stick breaks right behind him. And as Matt is going to turn, he sees a dark figure out of his peripheral vision running straight at him. And so he just freaking takes off. He just goes flying through the forest. He cannot see anything. So he's getting beat up by sticks, running into trees, stumbling. I'm like, he's getting himself beat the hell up. So he runs for like 5 minutes straight and ends up actually tripping and falling and like rolling a ways. And he actually falls next to a hollowed out log type, big tree type thing. It's a log, but it's from a big tree, and it's hollowed out. And he actually, thinking quickly, wedges himself into it and stays as still as he can. The way that this tree, we're gonna say tree, the way that this tree is positioned, he's in it deep enough to where he's concealed and everything like that. But it is facing the direction that he ran from. In the distance, he sees that light looking around, moving. These people are freaking, when he hears people talking, like, I mean, these people are looking for him. And, like, they keep coming closer and closer and closer. And he is just frozen fear, terrified. And he just, literally, he can do nothing but just stay as still as he possibly can. And just watch these people search the forest for him. They eventually make it right on top of Matt. Like, I mean, they are right there. But by the grace of God, honey, they do not find him.
Oh, thank gosh.
Amen.
Right.
Matt stayed, they don't find him and they keep going. They keep going looking for him. They keep carrying on. Matt stays tucked inside the tree all night. And even after the sun rises, and he's not heard anything for hours. Even after the sun rises, he's so terrified that he stays tucked inside that tree for several more hours till like noon. And he finally gathers his courage around noon and like leaves the tree, looks around, doesn't see anything, and he just bolts for the trail. He gets on the trail and he runs non-stop sprinting as far as he can for hours. He is just booking it as fast as he can. He ran all the way to Castella, California, and then he hitchhiked his way to the town of Mount Shasta, where he would go and speak to the police and tell them his story about what happened. And the police actually put Matt up in a hotel for the night because I mean you could see he was he was traumatized.
Yeah.
And so the police put him up in a hotel and they let him call his family, and his family come and actually pick him up in Mount Shasta. Months later, Matt actually does call and follow up with the police department to ask if anybody else had reported anything, if these people in white had got anybody or terrorized anyone else. And the Mount Shasta police said that there had been multiple reports of theft on the trail, but Matt was the only one that had reported being terrorized by the people in white.
Honey, I would not be hiking no more.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, just to wrap it up, honestly, these people stalked Matt for around 100 miles.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But thank God he made it.
So if you're ever in California, honey,
don't take the Pacific Crest Trail, honey.
Don't do that. And if so, just stay in the little town.
Or take people with you. Don't go by yourself. Jesus.
That's gave me chills. I can't.
Yes, honey, I'm ready for your reaction. I do, because I could see that you were freaked out.
My fat ass ain't never going no hiking and can't unless we in an RV, no.
Well, I think it's fine as long as you're in a group and if you have weapons. But my thing is there's a lot of these stories that we're gonna do on here. I can't wait to get your reaction to them too. That these people are alone by themselves hiking, and
why do that?
The only weapon they have, Josh, is a knife.
No.
Sometimes a freaking pocket knife, not like a machete or a hunting knife. They don't have a gun in sight. And I know a lot of our viewers, might be, anti-gun or whatever. But I think if you're responsible and you're a hunter and if you are hiking, you need to have a weapon.
Honey, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Amen.
Yes.
You could not pay me. I'm dead serious. You could not pay me to go in Mount Shasta Forest. You'll find out why more when I tell you more stories. But you could not pay me to go in that forest without a gun.
No, I don't.
And not just any kind of gun, like heavy duty.
I don't plan on going to that forest, period. Yeah, this. That's crazy.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
No.
What would you do?
Something would have got killed that night.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. See, that my thing is, I would obviously be freaking petrified. But number one, I wouldn't be by myself. But let's say I was, honey. I would not be in there without some freaking machetes, honey, machetes and guns. Honey, you could not pay me to go out on a trail like that for any amount of money without a weapon, a true weapon.
You couldn't pay me to go on a trail like that, period.
Oh, I would. I would, as long as I had weapons.
I'm good. Thank you, though. Thank you for thinking of me, friend.
I just can't imagine. No. But, honey, I would go out guns a-blazing.
Same.
Yeah, they would not be ready for this bitch. They would not be ready.
No, child, no. I might go down, but I'm going down with the fight.
Oh, exactly. Literally, I'd be like, honey, you done picked the wrong one today. You do not know what you have woke up.
Come at me, wrong turn. Come at me.
Honey, you literally, like, bitch, I've seen wrong turn. Literally, honey, I would go out guns a-blazing.
That was a good story, though. I enjoyed that.
It's so scary.
I mean, it is. I think that to know that it truly happened to somebody, it just makes it even scarier.
There's this story that I'm going to tell you next week that you are just going to be shaking in your boots because it's similar, but it's not feral people. It's oh God, it's about a stalker in the forest.
Wow,
honey, it'll shake you to your core.
I'll have to say about that. So be sure to tune in next week for
literally. It is scary. It's my second favorite true story.
Her second favorite.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Well, I look forward to it.
But it's terrifying. Literally, if I was these people, I'd probably give up. I'm a bitch. I can't run all this way.
I'm tired. I'm hungry.
Literally.
My feet hurt. God.
I would just be hoping there's a string for me to just jump in and just let it carry me down.
Take me away.
Literally be like, if I drowned, at least I'm not dying by the hands of them psychos.
I know.
Oh, God.
I know.
What would you do if you ran upon a feral person? Pretend that you would be in the forest. What would you do?
Flirt. What?
Okay, what if it's like a wrong turn situation?
Still flirt.
What if they don't go for it?
Oh, well then I guess, honey, we either gonna fight or my fight ass up out of there. Like if I cannot, sleep my way out of it, then I guess I'm gonna either have to fight or I'm gonna have to run.
Fight or die.
I know. That's my only two options. If the third one's off the table. Now, if the third one's on the table, we might be able to negotiate. I'll probably try. I'll be like, listen, I can write you a check.
You need money.
Do you need some money?
No, honey, listen, it looks like you're not doing so well out here. Be like, but I got some money tucked away.
Help me help you.
Yeah, be like,
what
do you
me
need?
What
Do
do
you
you
need,
need,
honey?
What do you need,
What do you need? You want to go to Walmart?
we
Let me set you in your commune up, honey.
we can negotiate.
Yeah.
We can negotiate.
My life for all stuff you need, honey. Oh my God, I can absolutely see you doing that. 100%. Like, honey, what do you need? What do you need?
Honey, my daddy always said that no is temporary and yes is just a dollar sign away.
Literally. Oh, Jesus. Like, honey, you need some food.
Do you need some food? I got you.
Let's go Walmart. We'll get you some cans.
Like, do you need some new white poncho? Maybe a little Dawn dish liquid, something for the hair.
Something. Whatever you need, we'll get it.
Even them crystals to rub under your arms, because they probably not using deodorant.
Yeah. Like, honey, whatever you need, we'll go get it.
I got you.
25 miles. There's a town. Walmart, honey. Walmart.
I mean, you got a lot. Do you have a car?
Do you want one?
Do you want one?
I'll give you mine.
Do you need it? Like,
do you need a house? Just let me live. You can have mine. Oh, Jesus.
Lord. Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I can't imagine.
I couldn't. No, that would be my worst nightmare.
Literally.
I mean,
Honey, some of these stories I read about people, they have something horrific like this happen. Honey, they still go camping and hiking.
How?
So I'm like, do you not have freaking PTSD, bitch?
Honey, I would have to sleep with my Mary and baby Jesus nightlight.
Oh my God, do you know that I would, like in Scream, you've seen Scream, surely to God, it's classic. When, Neve Campbell's character, what's her name, Sydney, honey, in the second,
Sydney Prescott.
Yeah, the second, third movie, she's got all them locks on the door.
Yeah.
Honey, that'd be me.
Same.
The windows, the doors, everything.
The booby traps.
Honey, I'd be a fucking hermit. I'd be so traumatized. I'd be like, I'm never leaving this house again.
That's pretty much me minus all the locks. I'm a hermit. I'm like, I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the story.
Thank you so much for
and
listening.
let us know what you think in the comments. And please make sure to like and share. And it would mean the world to us if you would subscribe to our channel. And next to the subscribe button, there is a little bell. If you click that bell and hit all, you'll get alerted for all of our notifications so you'll never miss a single upload that we do.
Won't miss a thing, honey.
No, honey, not a thing.
Not a thing.
Just stay tuned. We've got more fun and spooky AF stories coming to you soon. Twice a week, boo-boo. Bye.
Bye.